we had Australia released a climate paper, climate call to action type thing, saying give the government more money because the climate is bad. Um, and then this article comes out. Australia has the best snow season in 3 years. Yeah. Well, given how wet the winter's been and how much moisture's been coming down over our small snowfields, yeah, not a surprise. Um, so again, bit of disconnect here. Of I know the climate is ending and it's always a heat wave, and look at our awesome snow season. Yeah. Um, far enough south. I had cold fingers this morning. Um, Southeast. I am in the southeast of Australia, and to the point, I will talk a lot about New South Wales, Victoria, and the ACT. A little bit about Queensland, but they're weird people up there. But no, my stomping ground was always southeast of Australia. I've moved around a bit, but I've lived enough places to know where the frosts are and stuff. I mean, you don't have to be necessarily high up to have frosts. Like I'm not on the snowfields, that's for sure, but I don't live that far away from them that my local weather isn't affected by them. Now that could still be hundreds of miles. I've lived places where the terrain dominating the weather was a good 700 kilometres away, but it was a desert. And so even though where I lived was on the coast, well, city on the coast, our weather was driven by the desert. And so it was always dry and hot, and it was far drier and hotter than equivalent cities on the same latitude. So, yeah, I live in the southeast of Australia, on the like eastern seaboard, they say. I'm not on the coast. No, 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 I'm inland. But you can't necessarily live in that region and not be affected by, say, if you're east of the snowfields or northeast of the snowfields, a westerly wind coming through, a westerly change, means you're going to cop icy, icy wind coming down off the snowfields, at least this time of year. If you're west of the Great Dividing Range, you're not going to get so much the wind off the snowfields, but you will potentially you'll still get frosts and stuff like that if you've got you like your night skies. I mean, I forget the actual geographic terms for it, like continental, not rainfall, cloud formation type, and other bits and pieces. Gee, that fell out of my head years ago. But the point being that you're semi-arid actually, and so you just like in the desert when it gets super cold at night, out in those plains and stuff like that. If there's not a massive amount of cloud cover, you're going to get frosts, even in things. Well, not that far, not that sort of thing. I mean, we do have a microclimate, that's for sure. Uh, and it's only, how far is it actually? It's noticeable across, wouldn't be more than 100 Ks. No, it's not even that. Maybe 50? Probably, I mean, I'd have to get a map out and measure it. But because of terrain shielding, so I live in a place that is terrain shielded, there's places nearby that are out on the plains and don't have um, ridges or lines of hills to protect them. So when we get weather events moving through, generally west to east, if there's thunderstorms and stuff predicted, generally they'll smash the places out on the plains because there's no hills or mountains or whatever to break up the weather. And so it's built up enough momentum, it'll just roll straight across them and hit them with hail and thunder and lightning and everything else. Whereas where I am, there's a line of hills, ridges, etc., that break up that weather. But it means that if it does get to us, it's generally pretty violent. And yeah, you can go Yeah, not maybe not block to block, but certainly 5Ks, less than that. It can be dry in one place, raining in the next, and that's passing showers more than anything else. I mean, I'd prefer it to be more substantive rain, but you also see the changes. I mean, I make no um, secret of the fact that I lived in the country, probably not a farm kid, but I was a country town kid growing up. And you see the effect of heat islands and things like that in the larger cities and stuff. So where a country town or out in the bush is getting rained on or getting a certain weather event, once it gets to the cities, it doesn't happen because the heat island changes the weather effect. Then if you get east of the Great Dividing Range, you tend to get coastal weather effects on the range, bit of a pick and mix, really, and then you get your inland effects and stuff. So, certainly in the southeast at the moment. I mean, I've seen places where I've been is actually relatively warm, and then I go look at the beach towns on roughly the same latitude, and they've got a freezing morning, and that's just microclimate more than anything else. So yeah. So speaking of snowfields, um, they're going to have, this is the last school holidays. Technically, it's the closure of the season. The October long weekend is traditionally the end of the season. June long weekend to October long weekend. Um, but 32 lifts open at Perisher is pretty good. I know people have been up there quite routinely, and they've been saying, yeah, there's been a fair bit of man-made snow to help, but it's been the best natural cover in ages. Well, that's the thing. 37 million people. We, as a nation, in fact, there was an article last week saying that it was like 27.5 million people in Australia. But I talked about that from the point of view of question is how much more can the environment sustain? Because all those people are going into places, unless they're going into high density accommodation, and generally there's not a lot of high density in and around Australian cities. People tend to be more spread out. Medium density is about as much as most people tolerate. The question then is, um, well, those houses go on farmland, and we don't have huge farmland. Uh, no. Is it the equinox? Maybe I should. um, maybe I should. Uh, I'll see how that goes down with the people I have to hang around. I'm taking the day off for the equinox. Um, uh, no, that sort of stuff will get me doxed rather quickly. Um, so yeah, the weather, it's going to be snow and it's going to be cooling down. Brisbane 25. Well, that's nice. Now, Brisbane during summer, not a nice place to be. It's subtropical, but it acts like a tropical city. I prefer being in the tropics than being in Brisbane during summer. It's at least with the monsoon, you get that relief. Brisbane, you just get the humidity and the heat, and then you get these ridiculous storms that build up and break, and it's not even a proper monsoon. So, yeah, 25. There you go. Southern parts of New South Wales, cold and frosty morning before it becomes sunny during the day. But yeah, southerly winds, so off the snowfields. Yeah, cold. It's like on the weekend. Beautiful sunny day, uh, nice and warm. But the moment the breeze picked up, it was like, oh, that's coming off the snowfields. So, 19. Adelaide, 18. Well, that's not too bad. 26 on Tuesday. So 26 on Tuesday means it's about a week for weather to cross from Perth. So middle of next week.